Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about teacher expectations. And I don't want to focus on the day-to-day expectations that we'll all need to set in our classrooms, like students are expected to raise their hands or no talking when anyone else is talking. I really want to focus on the big picture of how to expect the most out of all of our students. So to do that, we're going to focus on why it's important to have high expectations. We're going to look at what can get in the way of teachers being able to hold their students to a high enough standard. And we're also going to look at what an expectation-driven classroom looks like. So first of all, why do expectations matter? In terms of education, this really burst onto the scene in the 1960s when a study was done in an elementary school in California where every student was given an IQ test. And at random, 20% of those students were deemed special. Their teachers were told that they were on the verge of an academic breakthrough, that these students were going to do very well this year. In reality, those students hadn't scored any differently than their classmates. But at the end of the year, they retested everyone, and the students that had been deemed special did much better, made greater improvements than their classmates. So this led to the idea of the self-fulfilling prophecy, which, as it applies to teaching, says that how we believe a student will perform affects the way that we treat our students. How our students are treated affects their own perception of how they can perform, and their perception of their ability actually affects their academic performance. So, long story short, how we think our students will perform actually affects their performance in the long run. So if we understand this, then what could get in the way of expecting the most from our students? Unfortunately, what's been found through research is that most teachers hold biases towards students, and it's usually unintentional. They're not overt biases. Most people are not racist, or they do not mean to treat their students differently based on their socioeconomic status. But time and time again, it shows that teachers do project these preconceived notions through in their teaching. Fortunately, by being aware of these biases, as well as understanding just how important our role as teachers are in shaping a student's image of their own academic abilities, we can move past that and really make a conscious effort to hold each of our students to the same academic standard. So what does an expectation-driven classroom look like? Obviously, there are many different ways that this question can be answered. The method I'm going to focus on today is called the no opt-out method, and that was coined by author and educator Doug Lamole. But we'll be looking at a 7th grade math classroom, and I chose this method because it applies to all ages, and it can also be used teaching any subject. So to take note that each of the students are standing because the teacher is going to use a technique called cold calling, meaning he will ask a question and then randomly select a student to answer the question. And each of the students then have to prepare an answer in their head because they don't know when they'll be called on, but they do know that it is coming. They are expected to participate. Also notice that one of the students answers a question incorrectly, and the way that the teacher handles this is important and could also apply if the student said, I don't know what the answer is. So I believe this is a technique that we can all use. So
excellent. I am an isosceles triangle, with two angles that measure 3x each. What is the measure of my third angle? Anaya.
180.
Excellent. 180 degrees minus 6x. The square root of 400 is what, Frank? No, the square root of 400 is not 100. Help me out. That's right, it's 20 times y.
Because if you try to do that, you'll get going.
Excellent. Let's see. I'm a regular pentagon with a perimeter of 30x minus 15. What's the length of one of my sides, Samira?
6x.
Excellent.
So you'll notice he was not asking his students easy questions. He was really creating a culture in his classroom that said, I expect every single one of you to be able to answer any of these questions. And I think that is the most important thing that you should take away today from this lecture. So my sincere hope is that after understanding the role that expectations play in a student's life, as well as knowing what can prevent you from expecting the most from your students, and also having an opportunity to witness a classroom that really has a culture of expecting the most from their students, that all of you will take the time to consider, develop, and implement high standards in your classrooms. Thank you.